After waiting for 2 hours and now getting 2 minutes, I'll get right to the point. This board is pretending that for the last 3 months, your emperor, Dr. Levin, has not been against a mask declaration. Now, all of a sudden, we're pretending that masks are everything, even forcing speakers to use masks. I would like the board to take a position. Was Dr. Levin wrong for those 3 months? And if he was this wrong, why has he not been removed? Why has he not been fired for being so catastrophically wrong? Or do you not really believe he was wrong? You're just wearing these masks because it is a signal of your great virtue.
Damn!
Damn.
Because for the last 3 months, we have not worn them, and Ventura County has done outstandingly well and continues to do outstandingly well because we are not Los Angeles, we are not New York City, we never were going to be any of those things. Ironically, this is one of the few things Dr. Levin was actually right about. He has been wrong about everything. He is the one who told us we would have 400 to 600 hospitalizations a day. He revised that to 200 to 400 a day. We still haven't reached that in 1 day. We're barely over 200 for the entire ordeal that you guys have put us through. We now are panicked over 51 total hospitalizations in a county with 8 hospitals. Can you people do math? Can you please do basic math and understand where we are on this? This is not a crisis. You, however, have created one. You, in an effort to try to prevent all death, when we've had 43 deaths, have now ended all relevant life. And you should all be ashamed of yourselves. And this will never be forgotten, ever be forgotten. You will all be held accountable eventually, in this life or the next. You all better hope there is no hell, because when you die, that's where you're going. And guess what? You're not going to be dying of COVID either. Thank you.
Broadcasting straight to you from a large spaceship, currently at war with mainstream science. Meanwhile, the peanut gallery is monitoring current events, excuse me, especially since North Kakalaki is voting on a new standard when it comes to American history classes. Nothing like rewriting the perspective of history to meet the future. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strange World, where the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Mark Sargent, the creator of Flat Earth Clues, which propose that all of us are living inside a Truman Show enclosed structure, thousands of miles wide. Check it out at enclosedworld.com or just Google Flat Earth Clues. If you can't find it, well, you're just not very good at the internet. For those of you listening to this on YouTube and you want to hear the show live as it happens, please go to Truth Frequency Radio for the latest schedule. Currently, the show is on Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. And yes, Caroline, if it is not June 30th, 2020, then you are listening to a rerun. Quote of the day goes exactly like this. I keep looking for the virus. Where is it? Where is the virus? I know where the virus is. It's on TV. Who said that? Mark Sargent did. My co-host for tonight is the one and only United States Army Master Gunner Brian Burton. Hey, Brian.
Hi. Can you still call me that? Is that allowed still?
I think so. There's a lot of things I can't call you for politically correct reasons.
Well, I thought we were discussing whether.
Right. The word master. Yeah, let's get into that real quick, which is the Houston Realtors Association removed the terms master from master bedroom and master bath because for some reason they have it tied to slavery. And it's like, oh my God, there's so many. You know how many things have the word freaking master in it? Not to mention all on YouTube, like master classes, the masters at golf down in Augusta, master gunner.
What
Oh,
about your 6-year degree?
oh yeah, your masters. You get your bachelor's, your master's, and your PhD. Nope. I mean, I don't think they're going to get rid of that, but it's just silly. Hey, Brian, when you wake up to the flat Earth reality, it can be a lonely place. Talking with friends and family can become contentious and often doesn't end well. Sometimes with a statue falling on you. There is nothing more exciting than waking up a family member or a close friend from the globe lie. One of the best ways to do this is by gifting the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, and then asking them to take the Flat Earth Clock Challenge. Watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks and see what happens. It'll be the best $2.99 you've ever spent. Do you have the app, by the way?
I do. And every day, because I go to work really early, in the middle of my work, I get my alert from the FB app. I sure do. Even comes across my watch.
Nice. That's really, really cool. So people that are wondering, it's like, where's Karen? Where's Karen? Karen is at the beach, being all Miss Hot Body down there with Mr. Hot Body.
Is it a
Ted.
nude beach? And they still have masks on, though, right?
Yeah, but I think they have to wear their masks on their genitalia. I'm pretty sure.
Ah.
See what I did there? I hope she's listening. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe she'll call in from the road. Whatever. I'm just, hey, she wrote me this morning early and said, I'm going to the beach. I don't know if I'm going to be back. I'm going, you know what? Just stay at the beach. It's fine. You know, I'm sure it's beautiful, and who knows? We'll have to see. You know, I want to hear what her stories were when she went out to the beach. But we'll get into all that in a minute. So I want to do my rant. So I know you probably already have a beer or a Coke or something ready.
Oh,
My rant's going to be about, you already know it. I don't know if you read it, but it's going to be about the people that are, again, they're trying desperately right now to change history. They're trying to rewrite everything as we speak, and this year is not going to calm down at all. It is just going to get worse and worse and worse. But we will talk about that as we go along. And I'm sorry if I'm in a mood, but I haven't found a happy headline all day. I should have caved in and watched cat videos at some point, because I was just getting inundated with every link that people were saying. I don't mind you guys send me links, but my God, there was nothing good about any of the links at all. I kind of chuckled when the protesters went to the Seattle mayor's house and you're protesting in front of her house, you know, because she was kind of backing them. She was, the what?
No, I'm listening. I got some good news for you real quick, but I
what is
want
it?
you to do your rant. But I want you to do your rant first. That way you're in the
All
good
right,
mood for your rant, and then
Okay.
we'll discuss the good news.
Okay, well, this rant will help me get it out of my system. So the rant is called, So You Want to Change History? A Few Pro Tips. There's an old saying, may you live in interesting times. I consider myself a student of history. A lot of amazing and interesting things have taken place since our civilization began. But I can honestly say that I have never seen a year like the one we are in now. It appears that every month the rules to this giant game are being altered, and all the players have been on their heels ever since 2020 began. Our unbroken history goes back about 5,000 years, give or take. It doesn't seem like much in the grand scheme of things, especially when scientists start throwing out ideas like the Earth being billions of years old. That's B for billions. We have, however, accomplished a great deal. It just comes down to perspective. Years ago, comedian Stephen Wright gave an interesting take on the relative size of things. He said, it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. You don't fully understand the concept until you drive out west into an open area and then don't see a house for an hour. This world is a very large place, actually, but we keep saying that we're making it smaller through faster air travel and integrated communications. It's a small world after all, until you run out of gas on a back road in Kansas. Not so small then, is it? History, as we know, is just a series of very long chains, each link filled with events that interact and continue. There have been wonderful programs that have delved into this, the most comprehensive being the UK series Connections. What it showed was how fragile the chains of history really are. Even changing one small aspect can create ripples that alter a bigger course dramatically. Turn the wheel of the Titanic just 1 degree an hour earlier, and thousands of people make it to New York without incident. It seems like an obvious choice, and you might make it. Save the Titanic and erase the legend. Not so fast. Have you done your research? Have you thought about what you might be setting in motion? Or even if you could stop it? A deeper look into the Titanic hints at a British conspiracy, one that started with the sister ship Olympic, how it was involved in a fender bender with a British military vessel, but the British Navy refused to pay for the damages. So the owners of the Olympic did a quick repair, then swapped names with the Titanic, sending her out with the full intention of scuttling the ship, but with no loss of life. It was just a simple case of insurance fraud. They had a large rescue vessel within visual range, but they bailed like a nervous getaway driver during a bank robbery. And as the Titanic went down, there was no place for the passengers to go, and not nearly enough lifeboats. If you went back in time and changed the ship's course, the captain would have just changed it back. It was always going to hit the ice. That was the plan. If you wanted to change something, you needed to stop the Olympic from hitting the Navy ship. You need to do your homework and make the better choice. We've all thought about making choices like this, maybe not on a scope of, say, going back in time and killing Hitler, but certainly in our own lives. We question various paths that we choose and often wonder what would have happened had we taken the other road. Who did we marry? How many kids did we have? Our profession. What company in that profession? And it goes on like that. We second guess ourselves constantly. Have regret if we choose something that inflicts pain on ourselves and others, and breathe a sigh of relief when the alternative that proves disastrous fills our rearview mirror. I've done this many times over the years with my own life, wondering what could have been, what might have been. Did I make the optimum decision? Did I get the most out of this life? What I learned years later, and it took decades, was that sometimes chains of events aren't shiny or pretty, but necessary to keep the bigger picture intact. Sometimes the ends justify the means. It took a long time for me to fully appreciate that quote. I had just turned 17 when I attended my first university. I went because a bunch of other guys from my class wanted to. It was easier back then. College was cheap, and it was mostly about having fun, which I did. I drank my way through my first year, accomplished nothing, and went to a different school the next year. At the new school, I started an illegal fireworks company, got busted by the ATF, taught computers, won a world pinball tournament, got hired by a video game publisher in Colorado, then finally got into flat earth, which eventually brought me here to this broadcast. Let's say, though, that I don't follow my friends and chose a different university. I never build fireworks, don't get caught, don't focus on computers, never play the tournament, never go to Colorado, and maybe, just maybe, I lose my interest in conspiracies and join back into the ranks of the sheep that graze all around you. For me, Flat Earth becomes just a curiosity, and all the cool things and wonderful people I've met evaporate. Even this broadcast echoes into nothingness. Decades had to pass and events had to unfold before I fully understood. The journey has to run its course so that the story can be complete. Why is this important? Because right now, people are trying to change not just the course of future history, but all history. Tearing down statues of old politicians is, of course, only symbolic and won't change policy. But I hear whispers in forums about how much better they could make the world. Some stating that the U.S. and the black community would have been far better off if slavery would have never existed in America. Sounds more than reasonable. Slavery is bad. Sentient beings should never be considered property. It has no place in any civilized society. I like to put ideas like that into a wish machine. It's like a genie, but more mechanical, no smoke or voiceover by Robin Williams. The idea is simple. The machine gives you 3 wishes only. Wishing for wishes doesn't apply here. For argument's sake, we're not going to go through all the obvious wishes like money, superpowers, or immortality. These are going to be for the benefit of mankind only. If you had 3 wishes that could only be used for the advancement of the world people, what would you choose? Some would choose a cure for cancer, others would remove poverty or war, etc. Eventually, someone is going to make the broad wish of removing slavery from the United States. From a surface level, it sounds like a noble choice and removes the suffering and death of possibly millions of Black Americans. However, the choice, like all choices, has a cost that goes with it. In this case, practically destroying all modern Black culture as we know it. Let's expand on that. You make your wish, and the colonies don't hire companies to bring 300,000 Africans to the United States for slave labor. The population doesn't increase from there, and Black Americans never reach a 13% stake in the demographics. What effect does that have? Frederick Douglass doesn't pave the way for Black rights. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Louis Farrakhan, they aren't here to lead anyone. American athletics suffer greatly. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, George Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard, just about every power boxer in every weight class gone. Look at baseball with their power hitters. Hank Aaron, Reggie Jackson, Barry Bonds, Dave Winfield, just to name a few. Basketball with LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson. You know what? The basketball list is so long, let's just say almost all of the great players in the NBA. The same goes for the NFL. Just about every great running back and wide receiver came from Black America. The game is very different without them. The Williams sisters made tennis far more interesting. Tiger Woods accounted for half of the TV ratings in professional golf. Backtracking just a bit, when Michael Jordan retired the first time from basketball, TV ratings went down almost 30%. That's why they begged him to come back. And of course, track and field, which Black Americans own outright and have ever since Jesse Owens set the bar back in the 1930s. But the 5 aspects of the arts, that being pictures, sculptures, music, dance, and literature, they suffer the most. Let's just rattle off a partial list of my favorites. Duke Ellington, Aretha Franklin, Jimi Hendrix, all of the Jacksons, Stevie Wonder, the rise and fall of Bill Cosby, Prince, Richard Pryor, Sidney Poitier, Oprah Winfrey, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, Eddie Murphy, Whoopi Goldberg, Will Smith, Pam Grier, Halle Berry, Whitney Houston, Beyonce, every major rap group in history, and that includes the Beastie Boys, because they didn't create rap. They merely followed the Black pioneers. Wait, it wasn't just rap. All jazz, rhythm and blues, Christian gospel, hell, rock and roll doesn't even exist without Black artists like Little Richard, Ray Charles, and Chuck Berry. They influenced Elvis, not the other way around. Just about every major Black artist since the 20th century not only influenced and enriched American culture, but the entire world after that. Why? It's simple. Because America makes people famous. If your talent or your skill resonates with the general public, we embrace it, we elevate it, and let it be heard everywhere. But none of those people and none of their works happened because you wished it all away. Because of your wish, Black Americans never developed a population base in this country, and anyone coming from Africa had to apply for visas and citizenship like everyone else. Remember Nelson Mandela? Not now. Because there aren't enough Black people in America to spread the word. He becomes just another man referenced in UN speeches. United States interaction with Africa is then diminished. The tribal wars continue as normal, and in 2020, nothing has changed. Wakanda was just a dream after all, created in the Black Panther comic book series. A comic book that was, by the way, developed in America because of Black culture. See what I'm doing here? Would you still make that wish? knowing what would be lost, or did the end result justify the hero's journey? I think it did, but then again, I'm biased. I'm a fan of Run DMC, and I know that I talk too much. That's the name of a song, by the way. The Native Americans are in an even tougher boat. If you use a wish and stop the English from colonizing America, you would still have the French or the Spanish or whoever else figured out where the New World was. It was always going to happen. The people who built ships and guns were going to win. Why? The Indians built neither ships nor guns. So before you start burning through your wishes with knee-jerk reactions that will save the world, consider what will change if you do. A single human life can affect many others, like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, or repeated alterations like the butterfly effect. Let me end with this. If you ever come across a genie, or in some cases, the devil who wants to make a trade, don't rush to judgment. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, and always remember to be careful what you wish for. There you go. That's my rant.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You left one important entertainer off your list, though. Very disappointing.
Who?
James Earl Jones.
Dude, there are so many. I mean, that list, that partial
know.
list I threw out there. Oh my God. I mean, like I went through and I was going, oh my, like I was going to sleep a couple nights ago and I said, Tina Turner. I just throw in Tina Turner. But then if I throw in Tina Turner, would I have to throw in Ike Turner? Because that brings up that whole, thing. Yeah. So I was thinking, Tina, she's fine. She'll be fine. But the point is that Black culture is influenced. It's a tricky thing. I'm not kidding you. It's weird. It kind of reminds me of when, because I've asked, people, white supremacy guys over the years. I've said, same sort of thing, only more sinister. I said, okay, so fine, you don't like Jewish people. Would you use a wish and remove them from the world? Just blink, gone. And no one will pull the trigger on that. It's really weird watching people do that. I go, and it's almost like it's too real for them or it's too big for them. And so this question is kind of like along the same lines, which is, it's like, look, Black culture has become so magnified and so amazing and got to really branch out because they're here in America. Now, how they got here, of course, is very controversial. But again, I consider it a hero's journey, which is why I put it out there. So
Yes.
There you go.
But however,
Yeah.
they are, you saw, I think I sent you the link about Family Guy and The Simpsons. Did you hear what they did?
Yes, well, it's not just Family Guy. It's just about all animations will eventually follow this. I'm sure Disney will make the announcement soon enough, which is, they are no longer will white people be allowed to do voiceovers for Black cartoon characters.
Yeah, so Cleveland's gone from Family Guy.
Well, I mean, he'll be replaced with somebody, but
But here's the problem with that. And don't get me wrong, but that actor has said that, it's like switching. It won't be the same.
no, you'll be able to tell the difference.
Well, yes, it takes away. In The Simpsons, I don't know what they're going to do because I think they removed six of their characters have been replaced.
The Simpsons has so many episodes. It's not going to make much difference. I mean, Hank Azaria, he was one of the first guys to actually do it, and when said, I'm being insensitive because he voices, a ton of different people on that show, but he voices Apu, the East Indian convenience store owner, and he was feeling guilty that he was, giving him a stereotypical role of an Indian convenience store owner, and so, but as you know. I'm sorry, it's a knee-jerk reaction because as you know, you and I talked about this, which was, okay, so what about Black people doing voiceovers for white characters?
Like James Earl Jones.
Like James Earl Jones, who voiced over Darth Vader, who was white. And because James Earl Jones had such a great deep voice. Or or the Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson, a lot of people know, is done by a white woman.
That's right.
So at that point, is that a trend? Is that a gender thing? Is there any problem there, or is that it's a slippery slope? And then all of a sudden, you're. Plus, he's not, in the show, of course, he's permanently, 10, 12 years old, 10 years old?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and, the show's been on for...
Ever.
99 to 30 years. 30 years. So now he's basically middle-aged, so... yeah.
So, real quick before the break, to make you feel better, I'll give you some happy news.
Give me some happy news. What do you got?
All right, from the Los Angeles Times. Beverly Hills facing criticism after arresting 28 peaceful protesters.
Okay, only 28? Or that's all they got was 28?
Well, they arrested 28, but remember, this is Beverly Hills where all your stars have been bailing out protesters.
Right.
Until they marched on their area.
Then they arrested them.
And then they arrested them.
Nice.
Much like that mayor and one of your mayors in one of the cities up there in Washington, I think Olympia or whatever, where the protesters graffitied her house and she was called it terrorism.
Yeah. Yeah, the protesters, at least they got rid of Chop, otherwise known as Chaz.
I watched them take those barriers away today, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll take a little while to get the last holdouts, but they'll get them before it's over. And again, it just lost steam. Americans it's the problem with building a digital media culture, which is the attention span of most people is that of a goldfish. So, and honestly, the 5 weeks or whatever I don't think they even ran that. I think it was less than 4. They just got tired, and plus it was fair weather. Once the rain started, they waited. Once the rain kicked in today, they ran in there, hardly anybody on the street, and took down as many. Plus, again, it wasn't cool anymore for the kids that were doing it.
The fad became old.
Yeah, and kids, as you know, I mean, they're not on Facebook much. I don't even know what Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and whatever else is happening out there, and they lost interest. And so they just kind of, it's like, all right, we yelled and screamed, and then what? There's only so much chanting you can do, and then they just walked away. So we're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back. Phone number to call in is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. I want to read an email, a very nice email I got from a person out here in the Northwest when we come back. And we will pick up 813 and 360 and 530 and see what happens after that. But looking forward to the show, and hopefully Karen's listening. And if not, I don't know how long it takes her to get to the beach from where she is. I don't know. So, but we'll go over headlines. Traffic. The what?
Shouldn't be much traffic.
No, there shouldn't. But we'll go over headlines about what's going on. We'll compare CNN and Fox News. That's really what I do. It's like, okay, what are we looking at? Oh, so back in 3. Don't go anywhere.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. The Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, part 2 of 4. It's you, me, and Master Gunner. That was Joe Jackson stepping out from his album Night and Day. If you haven't picked it up already after 5 years, please do.
Who was that again?
It's funny. It's good.
Yeah.
So before we pick up calls and after we pick up calls, we'll go through some headlines. I'd like to read a quick email that was sent to me by a local resident. I won't give out names. Goes a little something like this. Hi, Mark. We only know each other from afar. My daughter or I usually wait on you and your mom at this restaurant on Whidbey Island. My husband and I have owned the restaurant for 15 years. My husband has been a flat earther for years, but I have never really paid much attention. Don't get me wrong, I am very much a question everything that is told to you person. On March 15th, my entire family lost their jobs when we had to shut down. This was very devastating to our family. I know you know the awful feeling of watching everyone following blindly what the TV and social media is telling them. You live in the same place I do, just miles from my house. You understand so much better than others. We watch your YouTube channel together weekly. It is our moment of sanity. We reopened our business for dine-in on Thursday, just a few days ago. Then Friday came and the mandatory mask law. Well, you can bet we are not enforcing it on our customers. That is not our job. Good for you guys. I never thought I would see the day that police, government, and politicians were no longer needed because the people are now police, judge, and jury. Anyway, I wanted to reach out to you and tell you we would love to buy you dinner at our place to say thank you for standing up and using your voice. Not all of us have that option. You should probably come quickly, though, because they will shut us down again soon. I will leave a gift card with your name on it with the bartender for you to use at your discretion. Thank you again. And I did. I went down there the very next day.
Wow.
Because, yep. And had fish and chips and took my girlfriend with me, and it was a lot of fun. But it was amazing. Again, going into a restaurant with social distancing is just freaking spooky. Tables are shut off entirely. We at this particular restaurant, because it was basket food, we didn't get any cutlery. You have very limited staff interaction. They don't come back, lots, and it's just weird. It is so freaking weird.
It is. I took the twins to a rib place last month, I think.
Yeah.
It's ribs. Sat down, freaking paper plates, plastic forks and knives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
really?
Well, hell, man. I went to a Mexican place the other day, and yeah, they did plastic forks and knives, but what was interesting, what threw me was the tortillas. So normally, you get those circular tortilla things with the lid on them, right?
Yep.
Not anymore. Well, at least not at this place. What they do is, because they don't want to reuse that lid thing, apparently they didn't have that many to begin with, so they kind of roll them up and put them in a aluminum foil tube, like a burrito thing, and heat that.
Wow.
Which is fine in theory, except you have to open this thing,
which is hot.
It's hot. Really hot. And
Sue
have to
them, you
peel
burn
this
your
thing
fingers.
off. There's no good way of doing this. There is no good way, but I mean, it's something, I guess. But yeah, it's awful.
Real quick on the restaurant thing, because I saw this earlier today. So New York the other day had announced, dine-in restaurants were going to happen on Thursday, this coming Thursday.
Yeah.
And today they just announced that probably not. They're going to not do it.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that. I want you to think about this. You're a restaurant owner. You're planning to open in a couple days. You haven't been open in months.
Right.
You order your food, you get all your stuff set up and ready. So you got your food, you spent all the money on it, ready to go.
Oh yeah.
And now it's not going to happen.
Oh yeah. You're basically killing off businesses in stages.
Yeah.
Because the people are like, okay, we can hold out. We've got enough liquid assets. We're doing fine. Kind of like the savings things with people before they were sending out the checks. Remember how quickly, like within a month, at least a third of Canadians, maybe a fourth of Americans, weren't paying the rent like immediately. Like that very next month, they were cutting it so close. So restaurants, same sort of thing, to where restaurants would be like, everyone's got their breaking point. And restaurants, if you get like this particular one, I don't know if Cozy's going to stay open. I don't know.
Here's the problem too. You just brought it up too. So you remember they suspended rents. You couldn't evict people and everything else.
Yeah.
Right. That ends tomorrow.
Right.
Your rent is due tomorrow, including, for a lot of people,
yeah.
back rent. It's not like they said you didn't have to pay the rent. They just delayed it. So
Right.
now they have to pay all their back rent.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. I bet there's a bunch of evictions going to start.
Oh,
happening.
yeah. July 1st. People I mean, the people were saying, they were talking about September 1st was going to be the cutoff date, of course, for the grace period for all the student loans. But July 1st, I mean, every first now moving forward, July and August and September is going to be, it's going to be bad every first of every month right now. But this one in particular, July 1st, yeah, not a good one. And the media is not talking about it. So
not really, no. Yeah, because I mean, think about it. I saw an article where landlords, they couldn't evict people, but they could go in and file the paperwork.
Right.
So they've been filing paperwork for weeks, which it takes, and then tomorrow it can be acted on.
Yeah. Yeah. I was reading another thing. The commercial real estate market is going to be devastated through this because you have forced so many employees home that a lot of offices are like, yeah, you know what? We can actually pull this off. We're not even going to renew the lease anymore. We're just going to let them work from home.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this huge glut of commercial real estate. What are you going to do with that? Huge. I mean, that's massive out there. Residential in most areas is going to be just anyway. You know what? Let's grab a phone call real quick.
Yeah.
Let's grab a phone call. Then we'll go into more doomsday stuff. Let's go with 360. 360, you're on Strange World. What's happening?
Hey, it's your favorite Amazon employee, except I no longer work for Amazon, which is awesome.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a incredibly good thing. It's very, very awesome to not deliver all the things anymore.
All right, what was the breaking point?
Well, my company kept switching stations, and like our contract kept attempting to end, and then they would like send us to a new station, and then it just officially like ended. And so my company just stopped doing business with Amazon, and but it was actually perfect timing because I ended up moving, and within a week I had a new job. So it really
good for you.
wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah.
Nice.
And now I'm near Seattle, so that's the best part.
Nice.
Good.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon is not going to, anyone that works for Amazon, because I've talked to people that have worked there, and they've it's again like Christmas every freaking day because there's so many people ordering online now. And
exactly.
Yeah, that's not going to change.
No, it's just going to get worse because people are like, I don't know, like more and more stores are requiring masks. And like I moved over to Eastern Washington, which was like pretty calm and mild and, only a few masks. But now the stores are starting to say that you have to wear a mask. But I don't know, like I've walked into a few places without one and no one has said anything. But then you hear of other people that are like, oh, I wasn't allowed to go into this store. And I just like, I don't know. I don't know what is really happening. Like I thought the country was a little better.
What part of Eastern Washington?
I'm like around Moses Lake, like about a half an hour from Moses Lake. Yeah.
Got it.
So
yeah. In the rural areas, it's not going to be as obviously not going to be as enforced. The legal issues aren't as pressing. Again, something I've talked about in previous rants, and I'll talk about in future rants, which is they have not scared the public enough. They're just not. I mean, fine. People are going to wear masks. It's one thing to get people to wear masks just because, like, okay, I got to pick up toilet paper from the grocery store. I'll wear a mask for 5 minutes. But more and more people are complying because of laziness. They're just not taking the mask off because it's like, I don't want to deal with the hassle. It's like, is this a no mask zone or a no mask zone? It seems like everybody else is wearing it. And again, a lot of people don't want to stick out. So they don't,
right.
They'd rather blend in and not get hassled then, I don't know, feel better. Masks are horrible. They're gross. They're hot. They're sticky. They look ridiculous. And you can't, when you're talking to somebody, you can't tell anything about them. You can't pick up any facial expressions.
Yep.
At all. It's like you're
you don't know.
talking.
Trying to tell you, or like, is this person smiling at me, or are they giving me like the devil eye? I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah.
Hell, sometimes I can't even hear them through the mask.
Well, yeah, I have asked people to clarify several times now. And I think that's also coming through because I've seen more journalists on television that are not wearing masks when they're on camera, because it's not just because they don't, they, of course, journalists want to be seen. They want their face to be seen, but it's the sound guys are complaining about it. They're saying, look, you're coming off muffled. So, which go figure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the amount of like people that I see touching their masks and adjusting it and moving it so that people can hear them, and just, it's like, how many freaking germs are you putting on it by touching it 10,000 times a day? Like, I don't really touch my face that much, like, ever. And if I put something on my face, though, that like doesn't stay there, I'm messing with it all the time. And it's just, it's so absurd. I can't, I can't take it anymore.
I agree.
Like, can we just in invasion already? Like,
well, I'm very happy for you, by the way. Eastern Washington, good place to be, and glad you're not working for the Amazon machine right now. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm working for still a machine, but a very, very good machine. So the owner of the hotel I got on with, she is like, she's like, yeah, I know that there's like supposed to be a mask requirement or something, but she's like, I don't know, it's just a virus. Like, if you feel like you need to wear one, go ahead. But nobody in the hotel is wearing one except like a couple guests or whatever. But
good.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be in a good environment like that. But
awesome.
But yeah, it's something else.
Any shout outs?
Oh, shout out to both of you on the call here, and Karen B and Zulu One. And yeah, I'm glad I got to call in finally. It's been, hectic with moving and getting settled and whatever, so I've been missing out. But yeah, I still love you guys. So.
All right. Well, happy for you, and don't be a stranger, okay?
Okay, I never will. Bye.
Okay. See ya.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Just food for thought. How come we never wore masks during SARS or
West Nile or H1N1?
H1N1.
Yeah, because this is a completely. Again, I'll go over it. Like next week, I'm doing more of a patriotism thing, but maybe the week after I'll go into the plan, which is okay. Yeah, which is what is being laid out now. It's not hard to figure it out at this point. But it's because it's not about the virus, and it's not about Black Lives Matter, and it's not about any of this other stuff. It is all distractions from the overarching theme, which is, can you get a population to be compliant if you beat it into them enough? But it's not even if you beat it into. I mean, yeah, repetition helps, but it's also because of what you can do legally. I mean, think of what they've done now. But the reason why, we were just talking about masks. The reason why masks are doing, have hit this wave is because of three groups. The health officials, which are just general germaphobes, who convince the corporations through their lawyers. It all comes down to the legal system, which is a lawyer will go to a corporate, the corporation goes to the lawyer and says, are we legally exposed if we don't require masks? And the lawyers say, well, yeah, absolutely, you're legally exposed, because somebody could say that they caught it. That's all you need. All you need is one class action suit, and then that's it. You're done. And they can sue you for potentially catching the virus. At the very least, you'll be in court spending tons of money trying to defend it. And so the easier route, remember the whole Sun Tzu, The Art of War, always take the path of least resistance. It's easier to require the masks than taking the risk and not. Even though the risk, even though it makes people feel better, because they're just going through their daily lives normally, It's easier. It's safer for the corporations. And again, we will talk about that as we move forward,
Yes.
because that's not going to change. The masks are a dry run for what's going to follow the masks.
However, I
And-
will point out,
Yeah.
the masses, this would be a hard sentence to say, the masses started wearing the mask just because the TV said so.
Yes, they did.
Even before all the corporations started, you should wear a mask, and then everybody was wearing a mask.
Well, and even before that, I don't know if you remember me saying this, wow, a couple months ago, when I was driving around looking for a mask for a friend, and there wasn't a mask in a 50-mile radius of this place. And what was interesting was all the masks were sold out, but nobody was wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody was wearing them on the street. It was like they were holding on to them, waiting for the TV to tell them that it was time to wear masks, and then they did.
Right, and
And
because
then-
remember at the beginning, don't wear a mask.
Right. Yeah, don't wear a mask. Absolutely don't wear. I mean, again, we don't even hear from that guy anymore. The Surgeon General, the good-looking black guy. We don't even hear from him anymore. He was the guy who was going on for 5 weeks straight saying, he at one point literally said, "For God's sake, stop buying masks."
Yeah.
He literally said that in a tweet. And then people were still starting to wear them. It was the weirdest thing. And now you can't stop them. People are just between the peer pressure and the corporations requiring it. If you want to do anything fun right now, you've got to wear a mask, which kind of diminishes from the whole fun thing. And some fun things you can't do. They're trying to figure out how to reopen some stuff, and it's not going to happen. For example, like the theaters, movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that? Exactly. I mean, how are you going to go? You can't enforce it. Remember, all the profit margins at movie theaters are based on snacks. $9 popcorn and $5 sodas.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the loophole, kind of like with airlines. You can't require masks if they're eating, and they're eating during a movie theater constantly for 2 hours straight.
Hey,
So,
I'm just waiting to see how they're going to do the schools, the public
yeah,
schools.
the big one is the schools, and they don't know. They have no idea. I read an article just 4 days ago where they have no clue. What would you do? I have no answers, and I'm a pretty clever guy. I got nothing. It's like you'd say, oh, we're gonna only do half classrooms, and we're gonna stagger. Lunches have to be eaten in the classroom, and students come every other day, and they have to come on Saturdays, and it's like, what? You're changing everything that's been our education system for the last 100 years. Just blowing it out of the water, and you think you can rewrite this in a summer? No, can't. And plus, you have no money for it. You have no budget for it. Unless they do stimulus package 5.0 or 6.0 or whatever it is. Anyway, let's pick up one more call before the break.
Yes.
Let's go to 813 out in Florida. What's happening out in Florida? Hopefully, it's kittens and rainbows.
It's hotter than hell, I'll tell you that. Am I coming across muffled?
Who, you?
Yeah, me.
No, you're fine. Oh, because you're wearing a mask?
Great. No, buddy, I haven't put one on yet. That's the whole story. I had to tell you about it.
Okay.
Tomorrow's July 1st, and I haven't put a mask on yet. And I actually got asked to leave a place of business that I do business with almost daily today. I had to go outside and do it through the door. And I did not comply. I'm
Good
just
for
wondering
you.
how long that's going to last. I've just made it to July 1st, haven't put a mask on, and I'm thinking this may never go back to what we consider normal.
No, I don't
But,
think it's going to now. I had hopes for a while there, but then I started looking at some of the deeper things, and no, they're not going to. This isn't going to stop. They're going to keep this going for, at the very least, this is going through November, to the election. Now, if Biden wins, will they ease up, or will they even take it further? And nobody knows at this point. Well, will Biden come in and say, well, my company that I know has got the vaccine, and we're going to ease up mask restrictions? No, I doubt it. I think it'll be more formal. Where we'll get into that later. So, but no, I agree. I don't think
I think there is a stopping point. Excuse me, but I think the stopping point is going to be in the needle. You know, you take the needle, you want to wear the mask, and I think that's where it's going to turn the tide everywhere.
Yeah, and it'll be a combination. It's clever. Didn't even occur to me that invisible ink was the solution here for the because how do you know, because people trying to carry around like an ID card or papers or any of that crap, it's not good enough. However, if you did an invisible ink, a tiny little tattoo that completely undetectable on in the normal visual spectrum, that would do it. And then literally you just have it's just one more scanner that fires off an infrared or probably ultraviolet, and that's it. That's what then you can tell. And plus the chip, whatever it is, something, the tiny, because now you can stack so much data in a grain of rice. But yeah, I think you're right. But we'll get into this more as we keep moving forward.
There's lots to say. Normally I can't stay up this late because we work hard. It's hotter than hell. We're not getting the afternoon pop-up showers in Florida like we normally do. So it's really been treacherous. There's one level of social interaction that wasn't mentioned. I didn't hear it, but it really affected us. We planned to go out to a bar for the first time in forever last Friday.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Friday morning, the state pulled the plug on that.
Yeah.
And
Texas did too.
And Arizona. And yeah, it's and that's deliberate because the bars were, when you get to a bar, it's what I love about bars. You put a few drinks in people, social distancing, they don't care. You throw enough alcohol into anybody, it's like, whatever, don't care, man. So yeah, the bar.
There's a lot to be said. Go ahead. I said there's a lot to be said about everything going on. I did want to take a second. I know you're getting to the top of the hour, but stuff with what we were talking about with your rant. I gave up watching cable television about 4 years ago.
Oh.
And so I don't even keep up with it. So a lot of what you're talking about, I don't even know about. And I think I need to start watching it again. I don't know. But the point here is we don't hear all the stuff on the news, on the television. So we're not affected by it. It's not something that's in our world. Yeah. And everybody asks questions. What about this? What about that? I'm like, do you know what a Koch postulate is? I mean, I ask everybody, KOCH. If you don't know what that is, stop the hype. But it's over everybody's head. Listen, I'm going to jump off here. I do want to talk about some more stuff. I rarely get on, but I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I really do.
Yeah.
And
by the way,
one shout out.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to throw a shout out at the Peanut Gallery because I never get to do that, but.
I'm sure he appreciates it. And by the way, don't feel bad if you eventually have to cave in and wear a mask for something that's required. I've been encouraging people. It's like, look, don't get thrown out of some place or get arrested or get kicked off an airline flight because you won't wear a mask. I mean, voluntarily, absolutely don't wear one. But if it's required and you have to get something, it's like if you have to wear it to get groceries and it's the only way to get groceries, don't beat yourself up about it because there's only so far you can go with this thing. Because again, like I got to
say one more thing, Mark.
Yeah.
It is an ingenious way to identify those that are dissenting and pushing back. It's ideal. You can see who's bought into it, and you can see who's pushing back, and you can label them. So it's a social outcast thing. Well, guys, I appreciate it.
All right, man. Hey, you have a good one. Night. Stay safe in Florida.
Thanks. Good night.
Anyway, what? Yeah. What?
When we come back from the break, I got a surprise for you.
A surprise?
Yes. You think you do.
Phone number to call in is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Operators are standing by. By that, I mean me. So when we come back for the break, we'll pick up California, maybe Michigan, maybe Texas. So we'll see how we do there. And we'll learn about Master Gunner Surprise, whatever he's got going on. And we'll look at some headlines. I'm looking through the headlines, and there's just nothing fun.
Why are you depressing yourself?
I'm not depressing myself. You know me, I try to find the silver lining and stuff. But
Hey.
but there's lines that are being drawn now, and they're not, it looks like it could be, they're not, no one's, it's like the gloves are almost off this page. Anyway, we're coming back. We'll talk about stuff. Call it. Oh.
Check wallet for his name. His face is in the muck. I think his zipper's stuck.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one.
Wherever you are, make it Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World Part 3 of 4. It's you and me and Master Gunner, at least until they change the term.
Nope. It's written on my certificates.
To Superior Gunner.
Oh, Lord.
I know, right? And what about S&M, right? Master and Servant? Wait, can you even use that term anymore? Because that's a sex term. But did that term come from... No, I don't think it did. I think it's an old term. Oh, God.
Who knows? You're old. Hey, before you go to the call, I
you have a
sent you a
surprise
link.
for me.
I sent you a link.
Yeah.
So while we're talking, I got a message to fill out a form for my kid's school next year. A questionnaire, a survey.
Okay, there's a back-to-school virus parent guardian survey. All right.
Right. So here I'll highlight some of these questions that are interesting. So, of course, it asks if my children will be attending in person.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. Probably not. But it's interesting because if answered no to the previous question, if a virtual learning experience was offered, would you be interested in taking part of it? So if you're not going to send your kids to school, maybe the school will start a virtual learning. Actually, let me give the listeners context. I live in a very rural area. Wouldn't you say, Mark?
That's being kind. Yes. I almost hear banjos when you call me.
Hey now, can't afford banjos.
Sorry, those homemade banjos.
Yes, the shoebox with the
Shoebox.
broomstick.
Yes.
Yep. So the context is, it's a nice community, but its average pay is below poverty, probably. Anyway, so virtual learning, right? So I love this question. If you were required to self-check your child each morning, do you have access to an accurate thermometer to use at home?
Interesting.
So meaning they might require me to take the temperatures of my children every morning. So that brings up the question, well, if they have a slight fever, that means they don't go to school, right?
Right.
how much school can a child miss?
Good
I
point.
mean, last
Oh,
year,
I think those
6
rules
days. Yeah. Well,
are,
but
yeah,
that's
those
not-
are out the window now as far as how
Right.
many days can you miss. I'm reading down, I'm skipping down through this survey. And it also talks about, oh, that's an interesting term. I'm surprised the media haven't picked up on this. There'll be times during the 2021 school year when school buildings are closed due to the virus. I'm not going to say the official name. And students transition to distance learning. It's good.
Yes.
Distance learning. Wow.
Now, the reason why I say that, and Mark, you know this because I only recently got decent internet, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Because my internet prior was maybe 512K. Yes,
Okay.
we're talking modem speed, right? For those of you old enough. So, and I'm lucky now because I have fast internet. But again, I honestly make more money than a lot of the people around here just because of my military and everything else.
Oh, sure.
So,
Sure.
these are the things I'm trying to figure out how the school's going to handle it. Seriously.
I don't
know.
I don't think they know.
Because if the kid,
hell, man. Schools, they're not alone, by the way. Schools, all major sporting events,
yep.
all major entertainment venues. Can you do a rock concert anymore? I watched, there was a country western guy that did a rock concert for like 1,000 people, right? The venue held 12. A county said you could only do half that, which was 6. And he had 1,000 show up, and there were still people ratting him out because those people were grouping together in clumps, because that's what you do during a social function.
Well,
you don't spread yourself out like chess pieces.
And the other thing about where I live, and I'll say, I'm in Oklahoma,
Right.
like Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Yeah.
The number one money for these schools and the biggest thing for the school is the sports.
Right.
I mean, seriously, the sports is where a lot of these schools get most of their money.
Oh, yeah.
They feed the sports. They live on the sports.
Yeah.
It's like, what was that old movie? Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues.
That's a lot like the towns around here.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't do-
Well, I mean,
so-
you're right there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I thought that survey is a little interesting that they're
Very
asking you these
interesting.
questions. Translation: they don't know what they're going to do yet.
Nope. Nobody does. And everyone's just in this holding pattern and hemorrhaging money while they do it. Meanwhile, by the way, stock market actually fine. The NASDAQ is over 10,000. It was almost up 40% since April 1st.
I think the Dow had the best quarter since '99.
Yeah.
Said today.
There is no logic in anything anymore. In fact, the stock market apparently has disconnected from the country itself.
Well, I disagree. It makes perfect sense. You know why?
Why?
Because you can't buy your stuff at mom and pop. You got to go to the Walmart. You got to go to Amazon. You got to.
Oh, yeah. Because the Dow is made up of,
the actual public trades of the bigger corporations. Mom and pop's electronics down the street isn't on the NASDAQ. Now, if they made $200,000 a year, small mom and pop shop, they're no longer making that. They're now transitioned going to Walmart, Amazon, or wherever the hell.
Yeah. So, so the stock market is basically doesn't represent the country really at all.
No, it doesn't.
It's just those companies. Before it was an aggregate. It was, it was a cross section of how the country's doing, and it was relatively accurate. Relatively, not anymore. I mean, it went down to 20, went from 30 to 20, then back up to 7. I think it's at 25 now, right now. But the NASDAQ's never been higher. Yeah. Anyway, let's pick up a call.
Yep.
Let's go back to California. 530. 530. Are you?
Hello, my friend.
Hey, are you living next to?
How are you doing?
Good. Are you living next to John Wayne Airport, or are you somewhere north?
No, sir. I believe you're responding to a credit card offer due to your excellent payment history. In fact, sometimes
Hey, you can't do that, boys. You can't do that.
Hey, man,
boys.
you're white. You're white. You can't do that accent anymore.
apologize. I was eating curry chicken, and I don't know what happened. It got stuck in my throat. I'm sorry, guys. I hope you forgive me. Hey, what's going on?
So
Well,
do you live here, Todd Wayne?
What's that?
Go ahead.
No, I'm back home. Yeah, I'm back home. It was quite an amazing journey being on the other side of the country and seeing just a different how they're doing things differently. In fact, yeah, I think I mentioned last time on Jaron's show last Monday, I was able to call in, and I was asked to leave Walmart, otherwise they'd call the police. So I left. I wasn't gonna get arrested on vacation. That'd be kind of silly.
That would be so.
Yeah. So I don't know how far we are from that here in Cali, but you wrote that, huh? That rant there, Mark, yourself? The
I
one
did.
You just did?
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, that is one of the most elegant doxologies I've ever heard on Star Trek's Prime Directive.
well, thank you. I wasn't even thinking of the Prime Directive when I wrote that, but thank you.
But
I don't think it was a
literally
prime
what you
directive.
described.
I think it was a
You know,
temporal directive. wasn't it?
Quite elegantly. Eloquently.
Well,
You know,
thanks.
right?
Well,
So,
thanks. I mean,
Yeah.
it just got to me because I'm watching the news and I'm watching them, start ripping down stuff and going after things that have nothing to do with emancipation and going after the Lincoln statue and Jefferson. I mean, I'm honestly waiting for protesters to show up at Mount Rushmore for
Too lazy. Won't do it.
for Trump's Trump's
So
doing
I
a
was-
rally on July
I
4th
went
up at
to-
Mount Rushmore.
Well, I was at the Lincoln Memorial, and in fact, my friend who I'm with, who I really won't mention what he does, but let's just say he couldn't be found nowhere near those protests. So we drove by him, and they were basically cordoned off with cops all around and an entry control point. So it was basically a controlled environment, I think, for the cameras. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There was boards being took down. That was already done. I understand that Trump had the National Guard on the steps because they were going to pull down Lincoln, which really doesn't make no sense. But yeah, so it was quite an eye opener. But I had fun. It was a great vacation. I needed it. But I'm back to the grind now, and back in good old California.
Cool.
Just doing what I do. But I did get to talk to one of my buddies about this whole cosmology. I kind of gave my 5-year journey in 3 hours, and it was pretty cool. He was,
Nice.
it was
great.
good. He, I think the marble, in fact, as soon as I mentioned, one of his first things was, you know what? I always knew we had no business on the moon. What the hell are we doing there? I mean, literally was the words out of his mouth.
Right.
So that was something that's been rattling around him for a long time anyway,
Yeah.
So, yeah, people are waking up, Mark.
They are.
And as far as the mask goes, I didn't wear it on the plane. I was the only one. And no one gave me grief. In fact, I talked to flying out, it was almost an empty plane. I had my whole row and the row on the other side of the plane, so I could look on both sides of the window of the plane. And do you know, from coast to coast, the horizon was obstructed the whole way, all 2,400 miles,
Wow.
both directions,
Hey,
a week apart. Now, what were the chances of that happening? My goodness. Anyway,
did
so I don't know.
wait? Did the airline? What airline was this, by the way?
Southwest.
Southwest. So Southwest wasn't requiring, or they just didn't care?
They said that. So when getting on, I was a little nervous flying the first time, and I just took David Weiss's advice. I just said, "Oh, I actually can't wear one," and I said, "But I'll take one. I'll take a mask to please you. But yeah, if I get lightheaded, I'm going to take it off." And so, okay, well, just let the person know on the plane. And so the lady, when I get on, she goes, "I'm so sorry, but I have to tell you, you got to wear one." And then that was it. And that was going. And then coming back, I just was a little bit more brave and just went up and said, "Hey, I'm just letting you know I can't wear a mask, and I'm not allowed to. So, but I have my handkerchief, and I will use that." And so that's all I got. And then I think right before takeoff, another stewardess asked me, "Sir, do you need a mask?" I'm like, "No, I can't wear one, but I have my handkerchief," and that was the end of it. And they were very nice to me. They didn't give me no dirty looks, and yet I was the only one going back. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
So,
Well, good for
I
you.
think David Weiss is right. They're just seeing. And I wasn't an ass. In fact, I talked to the lady next to me. Flying back, there was a woman in a seat on the aisle, and I explained to her, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry." She goes, "You're cool." She's like, "I don't care." And I was like, "All right," So
Yeah.
And then I told her about the flat Earth.
Awesome.
Anyway,
Good for you, man.
so Master Gunner, how are you doing this evening? I just ex-staff sergeant in the Air Force, but same
You
country,
aimed high.
same fight,
It's good.
right?
You aimed high. It's good.
Aim high.
Hey,
I did. I sure did.
I'm waiting for someone to require me to wear a mask. I have not been required to wear one, but I have one ready when they do. It's my Army gas mask that I still have.
Nice.
My protective mask.
Oh yeah, man, I hated those things.
I
Man,
know.
Mach 4. Oh,
But if they require me to wear it, I told my boss that if you require me to wear it, I'm gonna come in with Mop 4 on. Your customers are gonna run away, but I will wear a mask.
you'll definitely lose weight. That's for sure.
Oh,
Which I probably need to do anyway. So, all right, guys. Well, it is a call-in show. So I'm going to do a shout out to Jaron, to Patricia, and of course the MIA Karen B. Hope she's having a good vacation. And,
I think she is.
I think that's it. And so thanks, guys. God bless. And don't forget, he's still on the throne.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right.
I think Karen's probably, rubbing oil all over Ted. Yeah.
Stop fantasizing. Pick up a call.
All right. Let's go with Texas. 214. What is happening out in the great state?
Well, it's been a crazy world down here in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Hi, Mark and Brian. It's Chris Pontius.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Hey,
Pontius.
Chris. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Haven't talked to you guys in a while.
Yeah.
Haven't called in a long time.
And yet, I got all your artwork on my wall.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm still working on a few pieces here and there, but I've been very busy the last few months just getting myself more situated. I've had this dream to build a aquaponic garden where I could grow my own food, and I wanted to get some chickens and raise some fish and just try to get where I'm more self-sufficient, because I just going out and dealing with the general public, and like everybody says, I had to go to the grocery store today, and I was the only one in there that didn't have a diaper on my face, and most of all the people were elderly people in there, and nobody really even looked at me funny. I just went about my business, and it was cool. But I have run into a couple of situations where you went in there and they said, "We can't let you in here without one on," and I take it that the owner they're just paranoid they're going to get a ticket from the authorities, or they really think you're going to bring them the bug in their store or something. So, but other than that, it was really nice in town a few months ago when everybody was at home and you could just get around the city with no problem. And but it looks like here it's got up to about 70% or so of what it used to be like before everything got shut down. Mm-hmm. And it's just, we had the big dust storm one day. We looked out there and said, "Wow, look at the pollution." But that's not pollution. That's Sahara.
Yeah, I got that too up here.
Yeah, it was weird. But other than the heat, I figured it's one good thing about I know people go and spend money in saunas to do massive sweating to detox your body and it's one of the best ways to get stuff out of your body. I work with paints and chemicals and things, and it's good. So it's been really hot and humid here in the last week, and I've been so determined to get the garden. I don't have any air conditioning over there, so it's just like after working for about an hour, you're just completely soaked. Come pull off, put some dry clothes on, take a break, go back over there, and end up changing clothes like 4 times a day. Just trying to get. But I noticed the more you get used to the heat, the easier it is to deal with, and Because I got spoiled. I'd lock myself in the shop all summer long and just build models in the AC. Never go outside if I didn't have to. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy world out there these days for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I don't know if it's going to get any better. There's reports saying that it might really get bad come up around September, October, when these people are saying that if you think they've started burning things and riots were going on, it's more than likely.
Well,
I don't know.
You'd want to do it as close to the election as possible. So yeah, you want to make the country as divided and as disrupted as humanly possible before the election. Because then with all that going on, you might be able to pull a fast one. A little left hand, right hand action, little misdirection. But we'll see. I'm looking for a silver lining, hoping it's out there somewhere. So we'll see.
Yeah, we have to have some hope, because if you look at the whole situation, you go, oh God, this is not looking good here.
Yep.
I mean, it just appears to me like this has been just a complete communist takeover of our country at this point. I mean, I don't know. It looks like a lot of people are under some kind of mass hypnosis.
Yeah. Well, again, once you hit that point, it's what I've talked about years ago, the 100th monkey effect, which is a scientific principle that we didn't come up with it, and that is once you get enough people on board with something, the rest go along with it because they don't want to be singled out. They want to be part of the group. And that's what happened. Once we hit that 70% mark where people were, all of a sudden it was easier to wear one than to not wear one, and easier to go along with stuff. And I think that's going to continue for a while. So we'll see.
Well, I've worn, when I paint or if I'm doing something really dusty in construction, I don't like wearing those little paper masks, because you can't really exhale well in them. You just kind of breathe your own.
No.
I usually wear a respirator with the good carbon things, and then you've got a check valve in there, so at least you're breathing out. It's you're controlling your breath's going in and out of the mask, and even then they get a little funky after a while. After you've worn one for an hour, you got to go wash them out and sterilize them. But I see people wearing those things all day long, and they look funky and nasty, and it's just a petri dish in front of people's face. So I thought it'd be a smart ass, in case I had to wear one in a situation where I just can't get around it. I found a pair of fishnet hose. You can see right through it. I'm going to wear that just to be a smart ass if anybody says anything, because it doesn't, it's easy to breathe through it. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of picking up like the thinnest mesh, basically the thing with the most porous mesh you could find, and making my own, possibly, if I ever got to that situation. Like if I ever had to get on a plane, because if I'm going to sit anywhere for like 4 or 5 hours, man, I do not want to be wearing one of those.
Remember, for both of you all, the great Alyssa Milano.
The handmade.
She crocheted her own mask.
Yeah, where you could actually stick. You could put a pencil through those holes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
but she said that was good, and if she says it, it must be good. She's all wise.
Yeah, because there's no stipulation of the actual size of the mesh on the mask.
Nope.
Well, so. The one thing, by the way, there is a better thing. If you don't like wearing the mask, I think it's better for the breathing thing anyway, which is they sell them just the clear plastic shields that attach to a clear plastic set of glasses. It's just a big, it's just a super, super thin thing, but your mouth, you're not, the bottom part's completely exposed. So all it does is to keep you from, spitting, but then again, that's what the other one's supposed to do anyway. Anyway, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get through this somehow. And, I guess the people, knowledge is power. And if you have that, you have a better chance than most people. So
that's true.
But you got to get some other callers. So a big shout out to, let's see, who I haven't talked to in a while. Jonathan from Jersey.
Oh.
And, and Karen B, since she's not there tonight, and Zulu, and gosh, a million of Jaronism. I've enjoyed listening to him lately. He got on a rant the other day, and everything he said, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Cool.
So, and also one quick thing I saw, a lady had come on there and did a video about, she found out that this social distancing was created by the CIA back in the 40s, and it has a real psychological effect. It's equivalent to smoking a half a pack or almost a whole pack of cigarettes a day, and plus being an alcoholic. It's the same.
Wow, what's wrong with that?
Saying it like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, something's not a bad thing. Well, y'all have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. See you, man.
Chris.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Phone number to call in is 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. We will pick up calls after the break. We'll pick up D.C. and West Virginia. Looking at the headlines, just glancing at CNN. Basically, CNN's keeping the same theme. They're only focusing on two things nowadays, which is the top one is we hate Trump. We're going to run at least a dozen stories a day on about how much we hate him. Today's is 69 million clues Trump is nervous about November, which means, basically they're saying he's going to lose, he's going to lose, he's going to lose. Why the GOP is worried about 2020, he's going to lose. Trump rally scrapped amid pandemic fears, meaning he's going to lose. What if, this one, my favorite, what if Trump loses and refuses to leave? That is a retread of a story they've been running for a while, which is to, because it's never happened. If an incumbent, if he loses, but he believes that the election was rigged, does the sitting president get to pull some legal things and stay? Or does the president-elect have any power? That's always a good one. And goes on from there. So, and of course, these nice older couple, they spent their last moments holding hands after 53 years of marriage. Yeah. And COVID got them both.
Oh, COVID got them.
Oh, yeah, of course. Had nothing to do with the fact that they were both in their pushing 90. Had nothing to do with anything else.
No.
And then looking over at Fox isn't doing the opposite. They're saying more states claw back reopenings amid surge in virus cases, sparking questions. Oh, remind me, that's what we're going to talk about when we come back real quick, which is why is there this huge spike? Why are these massive spikes?
I know why.
You know why.
I know why.
Yeah, and it has changed. Something has changed drastically, and it has nothing to do with actual cases.
This is the White House. Ronald Reagan speaking.
So we'll talk about that in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Finally, it's time for a daily Just Much. Are you ready?
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TLR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to Strange World, Part 4 of 4. It's you, me, and Master Gunner.
Yay! I like Wookiees.
We're taking calls. What are we doing? I don't know what we're doing. Hey, let's talk about this real quick, and then we'll pick up some calls. Yep. I know we got a couple in from Canada and D.C. and West Virginia and New York. But I want to talk about real fast about the spikes, because everyone's been, hyping up the whole, so we've fallen into this huge paradox. And it's completely hypocritical, which is Arizona, it's seen a rise in spikes, in Florida and New York and Texas, big, huge spike levels, right? And all immediately the governor is like, oh, we got to shut down the bars and the gyms and the clubs. Not the restaurants, not the grocery stores. No, no, no. We're going to leave those open, even though people
Not the weed shops or the
not
alcohol
not the
stores.
weed shops. Yeah, and again, grocery stores completely hypocritical because you've got the same people going to the grocery stores, picking up and putting things back in the grocery stores. I'm amazed no one's done an article on this, which is, again, a couple things you would shut down if it was an actual pandemic. First off would be every airport in the country. You would shut them down. Nope. All completely open. There's not that many flights because nobody's flying, but they're open. You can get flights. You go on Travelocity. You can get them right now, or Priceline. But the other thing is grocery stores. If I go to a grocery store and I pick up a can of soup and I don't like it, I put it back. No one's questioning that. And I can go to any grocery store and do it, I can go there every day. And
Well,
no
I'm
one
gonna
questions it.
tell you this because as a parent,
Yeah.
even though they're teenagers now,
Yeah.
when we go to Walmart and whatnot, I'm still saying the same damn thing I've said for 13 years. Stop touching crap.
Yeah.
Not because I'm
Put
worried
that
about
back.
virus,
Put that
because
back.
they like to go up and they pick up things. It's like, I'm not buying that. Put that, but they do. They touch and touch and touch and
Oh,
what's
yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's what
There's a-
kids do. That's how
That's
they get
what
used.
kids do.
Yeah. Which of course leads in back to the school thing. Okay, so let's get to this. So why is the spike happening? The spike is happening, and you guys can look this up, and I highly recommend. Fine if you go to the normal news feeds, CNN and Fox, and NBC and ABC and CBS, that's fine. But if you want to see some interesting stuff, go to a site, and I haven't gone there in a long time, and I started going back. You know how bad it's gotten if I'm going back to this site. It's called Godlike Productions. Do you remember this one?
Yes.
And go there and start looking through. Now, granted, it is right. It leans heavily to the right, but they've got some great links in there. And what happened was there was a city council that met in, I believe it was Texas, it was the one I sent you. And I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head. But what happened was they were reclassifying cases. So not only now were actual cases, being counted, but probable cases were being counted. So if you fell into one of up to like 15 different points of a criteria, they would count even without being tested. That's the key here, right? If it's like you walked in and you coughed, they're just writing you down as, oh, you probably have it. And if you probably have it, then you have it, because they don't have a separate category for probable. So they just list it as actual cases.
Yes.
And if you have it and you start rattling off names of your friends who you spent time with, those become actuals as well. Because technically, even though they're supposed to be contact tracing, oh God, thank God that's never caught on for now. Those are also being counted.
Yes.
So that's why the numbers have been completely jacked up. Like orders of magnitude being jacked up. That's what if you're wondering why the numbers are so surprising, like 5,000, 7,000, 9,000 extra cases. It's like, wow, that's incredible. Even though the death rate's not going up, which doesn't make any sense. If the caseload goes up, the death rate has to go up correspondingly.
But, and I just sent you the link, they have a way to increase the death rate. And that's the article I just sent you from Fox. Yeah. I like Fox. It's better eye candy. But so they've determined that this, quote, virus, COVID-19, causes your blood to clot quicker, which is causing more heart attacks and strokes.
Which I don't believe.
Well, no, I don't either.
But however, it's a good, there's your story. But yeah, there it is. Sure.
He died of a heart attack. Well, that's because COVID caused his blood to have a heart attack. Bulk. But that now they can start pushing numbers up again to do what they want, whatever that may be.
Yeah. And of course, the secondary thing, which you will hear about more as we go on the next weeks and months, which is America is the worst now at containing anything. All these the entire world is better at containing this than we are. And because of that, America is going to be punished.
Yes.
First off, by Europe, which means if you're an American and you're thinking about flying to Europe, you don't get to go now. Because Europe says, well, until things calm down in America, we're not going to let them in because obviously there's people dying in the streets and it's just going to be planes full of people that are on the verge of death.
You know what? On that note, I wonder how they're going to do with the military.
You never hear about the military.
You know how many military soldiers go back and forth? I mean, I went several damn times.
We have a ton of bases over there.
Oh yeah. Wonder how we're going to do that.
No, what's going to happen is we're not going to talk about it. And which will lead into something I'm going to do a rant on eventually, which is if it doesn't happen in the media, it doesn't exist. If it's completely out of sight, out of mind. If the mainstream media doesn't talk about it, it didn't happen. I mean, it's the ultimate in spin, which is you want a particular story to be covered. No, we don't have to cover it. And if they don't cover it, how is anyone going to know about it? So yeah,
by listening to TFR.
Yeah. Well, again, why don't we talk about nobody's ever talked about the military numbers, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard. Nobody's talking about it. No one's giving anything out. And because they're not giving anything out, the media has nothing. There's no fuel for the fire. Plus, I'm sure the media is told, don't talk about it.
Well, they had the one naval captain that talked about something, and then he got
fired. And he was fired.
That was the end of it. And you haven't heard nothing since.
Nope. That one Navy ship, that was it. He went public with it, and he got canned. And yeah, that story's gone. You don't hear about that anymore. Just so frustrating. All right, let's take a few calls.
Yes.
Let's go to DC 202. What is happening? Hey, DC, are you there? Or if you don't want to talk, that's fine too. I can put you back on mute. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
202 is going back on mute.
DC. I used to live near there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go out to West Virginia. 304. What's happening in West Virginia?
That was CIA calling you guys earlier. Who knows?
Oh, DC? Nah.
Yeah, who knows? Nah. So what do you guys think about the Ruskies? All that stuff. The bounties to kill U.S. troops?
Nothing new. Please.
That's not new.
That's nothing.
That's nothing new.
Nothing new. If it's nothing new, how come we're not going to World War III yet?
Shit, I had a bounty on my head while I was in Iraq. Seriously.
Yeah, but if it was Russians, then you better believe we'd be going after them.
No, we use Russia as a like a little side villain every once in a while now, and that's it. And the reason why they're bringing it up is because they're trying to create any controversy they can with Trump with 4 months left before the election. That's all they're doing. It has nothing to do with Russians. It has nothing to do with soldiers. It is about, did Trump know or didn't he know? And if he knew, was he talking about it? That's all they care about. They want to create again, they're treating it like a court case. Create as much doubt as you can with him, and just throw out as much negative energy as possible, which is, again, why ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, they're all saying the same thing. It's like, well, looks like he's going to lose. Looks like he's going to lose. It's like, okay, I get it. So, and attacking the states, by the way, putting the states, the potential swing states that have a huge population and electoral votes, put them in question just before the election, like Florida, Texas, Arizona. We don't hear about Wyoming. We don't hear about North Dakota, South Dakota. We don't hear about Montana. We don't hear about them. Why? Because they don't have any electoral votes. They mean nothing.
Yeah, in West Virginia.
Yeah, unless they have a lot of electoral votes, we don't care, because I'm saying from the media standpoint, because they will not have an effect on the you want the big states to be focused on. So create as much chaos as you can in those states. Although having, shutting down all the bars and the gyms and making it to where no one can have any fun, and then the media coming back and saying, "Oh, it's all Trump's fault." It's like, really? It'd be one thing if he actually dropped the original vial of virus, if it was real, if he was actually a lab technician.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't really have a lot. People are simple. They're not gonna buy it. Not that it matters anyway, because I think they're going to. I think personally, my prediction is that the media is going to try to take the election in the last hours. They'll turn into a horse race, and they will call it. There'll be some controversy about probably not Florida, probably something else, probably Texas or Arizona, something like that. Anyway, what else? What else you got?
Well, I mean, that's what I think. Like, think about like your high school president voting. You didn't have no electoral college for that. It was popular vote only. That's what ticks me off about this voting thing. You got small states like us or Oklahoma, Timbuktu. Who knows?
Yeah, the electoral college is kind of confusing because why? If the electoral college, that's what. Well, I don't even want to get into it. It ruffles feathers.
I will.
Go ahead.
I like it.
Do you?
Because without the electoral college, L.A., New York, and D.C., maybe Miami would settle the whole entire election. Yeah. Meanwhile, you have people in Oklahoma, West Virginia, and whatnot that now have to bend. See, that's the problem with mob rule.
Right.
So the concept of the electoral college is good. Of course, we abuse it, so yeah, whatever. But the concept was to make sure New York City can't dictate to Oklahoma, basically, by always having their guy in. And, we have a small crisis. You have to have and there's no small crisis in Oklahoma, minus, cowboys. But, hey. Right. So that's the purpose of it. Now, is it abused? Of course it is. Yeah, of course.
But by the way, I wouldn't worry about what I'm saying is don't worry about the Russians moving forward because it's not big enough story. And now because of social media, we can track how much it resonates. And I can already tell you right now, most people it's not even remotely interesting enough for people.
I'll be honest. When I watch the news and I hear Trump and Russia in the same sentence, I just tune out because I'm so
me
sick
too.
of shit from the last 4
Yeah, it's like, whatever. We heard this 5 years ago. We heard this. And
So, who do you think, the guy what was it, Freemason who wore Solomon's ring? What did he write? There's going to be like three world wars. What do you think the Third World War is going to be? Us against us or us against the Nephilim?
Don't be one. Don't know what it's going to be, but there will be one.
Yeah, there will be one. I don't think it's going to be. I mean, if you go with the biblical stuff, it says it's China. It's people. I'm still amazed no one's brought it up. It's like a country with a standing military of 200 million people, which was unthinkable even 40 years ago. And it's out there. China maybe, I don't know, but if they do it, they're on their own because they're our biggest trade partner. But as of right now, we're not trading that much. So who knows? I don't know, man. Not yet. It's too early to tell.
Yeah, topics for another night. Who knows? But good talking to you, Brian. And I'm not going to call you Master anymore. So
yes, you will.
Nice.
You guys
have a
take
good
care.
one,
I'll talk to you later.
All right, see you, man. All right, let's jump over. Take at least two more calls. Let's grab 905 up in Canada. What's happening up there?
Hey guys, pardon my French, but fuck the face shield. I freaking hate that thing.
What, the plastic shield or the mask?
No, both.
Oh yeah,
the riot
both
shield.
equally.
Call it the riot shield.
Well, I actually like the riot shield thing, the idea. I like it better than the mask because at least with the clear shield you can see the person.
But it sucks if you're a smoker.
Not after a couple days.
Well, yeah,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, it gets a little gross. I agree.
I'm going to keep it very short, guys. But the other thing about contact tracing, and you know how they're talking about getting your phone number and email and all that crap.
Right.
What they're kind of doing now is, so you want to get a table at a restaurant because it's crazy busy. Oh, we'll text you. Give me your phone number. We'll just text you when the table's ready. And people are willingly doing it. And I'm going to just say my phone's charging at home. But people want the table.
So you just made me think of something. This is really interesting today. I got to do some research on it. I don't know what to make of it. So I was coming home today and I stopped at a certain gas station, to grab a Coke because that's what I drink on the way home because it's hot, damn it. Do you know what I had to do to get a Coke?
What?
They had to scan my driver's license.
Why?
They're scanning all driver's license for customers in their computer. Why?
That's not right,
I
man.
don't know why. I asked. He goes, "We're just required to do it now." And I'm like, I don't
Are
know.
you
why.
serious?
I am
If you
dead
look-
serious. And a couple other stores have had scan. I thought it was for cigarettes, but they've always checked your birthday. But they started scanning it. You know, the barcode in the back of your driver's license now. They're scanning the license. I'm not kidding you. I might come back tomorrow and film it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, I was at
Yeah.
a drugstore recently, but I was buying some. Well, I shouldn't say recently, but I bought some cold medicine, and
Sudafed.
yeah, and they asked
Yep.
for my driver's license.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. But like I said, you know, if I was buying cigarettes or something, it'd be one thing. But I bought a tall fountain soda.
Yikes!
In this
Lady
store, I'm not saying all
fucked up.
stores, this specific gas station, and I've watched it do a couple other people are scanning IDs for any purchase. I don't know what it is. Haven't researched. Could be contact tracing, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think it is.
I
Every
don't
article I've read on contact tracing is basically it's a non-starter. They are
I
have
think
because
they-
right. Go ahead.
I think they're already doing it because Android and Apple did their updates, and the phones know when they're near another phone.
Well, I haven't heard any stories of anybody beeping when they get to next to another
No,
person.
you don't get beeped. No. It's not alerting you, but the phones, I don't know if they're transmitting to Google and Apple or whoever, but they updated them so they can track when phones get near each other. Not so you know you're getting too close, so they know.
Well, I mean, they've always had the power to do that. I mean, honestly,
They
come
have.
on.
Yes, they
The-
have. I'm not saying
Ever
it's
since
this,
the
that's why I
phone
think-
was created, the data streams from that are they're pretty comprehensive. But
Yes.
but the formal contact tracing that they've been talking about now, they're having a hard time because it's phone only. You know, initially it was like they thought of that they were going to just get people, these groups of people that would go door to door, you know, start knocking on doors, but they don't have the funding, they can't get the people to do it. And most people, they've also learned when they're calling, they come off as a solicitor. You know, what's the difference between a contract tracer and just any other solicitor? So people are just hanging up on them. Like, yeah, I don't have to talk to you. Bye. You know, until you get somebody who hangs up and then law enforcement shows up at their door, no one's going to do anything. They're going to be like, screw it. I'm not going to spend time with you talking about a guy that I may or may not have bumped into at a restaurant 2 weeks ago who may or may not have the virus. And if you run into somebody who doesn't believe in it anyway, you know, again, if somebody called me, I'd be like, yeah, see, don't ever call back here. Plus, it's only they've tried it in a few states now. Contact tracing so far, absolutely dead in the water. Nothing. Now, will they try to do it in the future with something else? I don't know. But I just can't. There's not enough manpower to do door to door. Sort of like, and we'll pick up our last call here in a second, which is kind of like martial law, which is people say, oh, there's going to be martial law everywhere. I'm going, there aren't enough armed forces to cover the entire country. There just physically aren't enough people. But people don't know that. It's the power perceived is power achieved. People think, oh, you see streams of tanks and streams of MRAPs and streams of Humvees going around, and you're like, oh my God, they're going to be everywhere. It's like, no.
But if they call martial law and say just New York, the media covering it, everybody will think it's the entire
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
They
Yeah,
will
you
think
could,
it. And it won't be where I am, I guarantee you.
Yeah, you can do martial law in some of the big cities, and you might be able to do a state or two. But head out west and tell me how you're going to do martial law. It wouldn't even make sense. I mean, middle of New Mexico or Oklahoma or Kansas, Nebraska. I mean, there's huge chunks of the West you'd never be able to do anything with, which is why that's what they used when they attacked. It was the smart thing during the movie Red Dawn. That's the place they came down. All right, Ginger, I got to say goodbye to you. And we're going to pick up our last call. Here we go. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it.
fucking New York, man. Sorry. Just they're ridiculous. I can't even think for this. They're bastards. How do you get people like you said? I'm so mad. Everybody got ready. Oh, hello, Brian. Hello, Mark. Everybody got ready to open, order all their stuff, get prepped, and then they're like, nah, I don't think so.
Psych.
And so then more money that they're gonna fucking lose. It's like they're just doing it by attrition, slowly. Hey, okay, yeah, everybody get ready to go out. Oh, no. You got to go back. You got to go back.
What you're going to hear next week is we have to get a stimulus package to these people because they just lost all the money, more savings. So we've got to do another stimulus package for the population.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah, and extend unemployment.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, do you guys remember when we were sharing this earlier? Remember 3 months ago? Remember how that hot weather was going to kill the virus? How summer was going to wipe it out?
Yes.
No, apparently not. Apparently it's the opposite. Going through the roof. Oh, let's throw one more thing out here, which we've got to get out here, which is, so when people protest wearing masks and the virus, that's considered a health risk. You're going to kill grandma when you do that. However, if you go out on the streets and start riots for Black Lives Matter, no, that's actually endorsed by medical professionals as being worthy.
Are you talking about the Michigan thing where all the right-winger, gun-toting, Bible-hugging people went up and peacefully was outside the Capitol and in their cars and all that?
Oh,
and
yeah. You're
dangerous to
killing
society?
grandma when you're doing that. But when you're choking on tear gas and coughing on each other by the thousands of people in all sorts of different cities, that's fine. That has no relation to, again, why aren't you tying this to the spikes? Why?
Yeah.
You're not even going to mention
it. I said, have a protest at your house and tell the cops to screw off. Nobody's wearing a mask. It's a protest. We just happen to have music and food, you know? It's like, screw you.
It won't work unless you're going to tear a statue down.
I'll build one. I'll build a Mark
doctor-
Sargent statue to tear down.
Oh, that's nice. One doctor actually said that racism is an epidemic. Therefore, it qualifies as a health issue. Therefore, you can go out and march in the streets.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hey, quick! Give me 1 minute. Let me just read off my 12.
Go,
things
do it,
real
do it,
quick.
do it.
This one I don't remember who said it, but I got to give them credit. How come they didn't arrest 90210 of them in Beverly Hills? I thought that was funny.
Nice.
I didn't make it up. I hope you overtipped when you went to the restaurant. That's awesome. They're totally fucking us slowly, like I said, with the attrition. Yeah. I obviously hate the children and old people because I won't wear masks. I can't do it. I know it's more psychological than anything, but I just can't do it. I was wondering why you said rubbing oil on Ted instead of rubbing oil on Karen, which would have been hotter.
I agree.
Shout out to Dottie's World. You, Brian, Karen, Ron Holloman, Nathaniel, Larry, everybody. Love them all. Especially Dottie. She's the best. They chopped $1 billion from the NYPD budget.
I saw that.
And not for nothing, but most of the money is the training. So how are you going to fix these fucking people if you take away their training?
Yep.
Stupid. LA's dropping their budget by $150 million. We're never going to go back to normal. I think we're going to have a virus war more than anything. That it seems like the people. I was at the eye doctor, and the lady just seemed perplexed when I told her, "There's no way I would take a virus that you produced in 6 months when you normally lie to me and tell me it takes years." And her jaw dropped. I was like, "You're just crazy." Yes, sir.
Just remember, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I think it's a train, though.
But it might be a train. That is correct.
All right.
I fear it is a train.
All
right, I'm almost done.
Hurry.
Wash tub. The wash tub was the instrument you should use in Oklahoma. July 30th is now the new date for the rover launch to Mars. And how come the moon moves at different speeds? Because today it took forever to move like a quarter distance through the sky. Wow. All right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Hey, well, you might as well stay for the music. We'll be back next week. Same flat time, same flat channel. Thanks to everybody. Say goodnight, Master Gunner.
Good night, Gunner.
Say goodnight, Zulu.
Good night, Zulu.
Awesome. Oh, yeah, by the way,
I love you guys.
Hot sex. Unprotected.
No.
Unprotected. No mass sex.
Unprotected cold sex.